You are not born as a leader. You're chosen to be made one by God. Be excellent. Be simple. Be authentic. Be a leader. You must choose your life journey. Experience a God who's for you. Welcome, I'm David Blunt, and this is our Leadership Lifter. Today I want to share with you how to mine for new ideas. Today our topic, you'll see it on the screen over here, is questions. Through questions, that's how we mine for new ideas, how we become more creative, innovative, come up with new ideas and go to new levels through the power of asking questions. You know, a few months ago, I was in Hawaii and I was at a success seminar. A friend of mine was hosting it. There were several guest speakers and authors and entrepreneurs. And the host, the last night before the last day, asked me to come to dinner with them. So I got the privilege of going to dinner with them. And we were sitting around the table with all the guest speakers from all over the world. They were from Russia and from Sweden and from different parts of the world. And we were sitting around the table having a great time of fellowship. And all of a sudden, the host asked me, "Dave, you're a master asker. You're a master asker. I know you have questions, and so ask some of your questions tonight. Let's get the conversation rolling." So, I began to ask some questions, and then everybody began to enter in, and the conversation went all through the night. In fact, the next day, in some of the sessions, they continued to talk about the questions that I had asked the night before. The power of a question. Through questions, we grow. Through questions, we learn. Through questions, we're mining, getting new ideas. The power of a question. It's really, really, really important that we learn the technique and the skill to ask the right questions. And one of my mentors, Bob Beal, he said this: "No problem in the world has ever been solved without a question or a series of questions being asked first." It's so important. Bob Beal, and I recommend his book to you as our resource. The guys will have it on the screen, but it's called The Question Book by Bob Beal. Every week I like to give you resources, and this is Bob's great book on how to ask questions, because a lot of people I found out don't know or understand the power of mining for new ideas, solving problems, going to new levels, opening doors. And so he said that he recommends that you and I create a list of questions that we carry around on our phone, on our planner, next to our bedside, that we have questions that we're ready to ask. I'm so glad that night that I was having supper with all of those quote unquote famous people that I had questions. Years ago, another mentor of mine from Australia, Peter Daniels, told me, "Dave, you always need to have a list of questions by your bedside. So if anybody would call you or text you, immediately you're ready to ask questions." Our questions really reveal where we're at. Our questions really reveal who we are. They really reveal a whole lot about us. At the same time, we're mining, we're learning, we're growing through asking the right questions. Years ago, I was in Houston, Texas, and I was with a pastor that I had highly admired. I wanted to build a relationship. I actually wanted him to become my pastor and a mentor to me. A group of us pastors had flown in from all over America to meet him at his church in Houston, Texas. And he took us through the church, and then he took us out to eat at a cafeteria called Lubby's. And we were sitting around the table, and all these other pastors were telling him all the things they were doing and how great their ministries were, how great their work was, and I'm sure it was. But eventually, this pastor, he was sitting next to me, who we'd all gone to learn from. He looked at me and he said, "Dave, how come you're not saying anything?" And I simply said to him, "Pastor, I didn't come here to tell you how great I am or what I'm doing. I came here to learn from you." And so I began to ask him questions. And you know what? Asking those questions, being a question asker, being a master asker, opened the door And eventually he became my pastor, became my mentor for over a decade, absolutely changed my life. What opened the door? Asking questions. The power of asking the right questions. And Bob Beal, he says this, I like what he says. Bob said that he has 6 honest, serving men working for him, Bob Beal. He goes on to say, they've taught me all that I know. Now, Bob, if you research him, Google him, Bob Beal, he's very successful, a life coach, a mentor, a leader, an entrepreneur. I mean, the who's who. And he said, I have 6 men working for me. And he said, they've taught me everything I know. And he goes on to say, Bob Beal, their names are why, how, what, when, where, and who. I'll say it to you again. And just by the way, we're going to start giving you a transcript of the notes of the teaching here on our Leadership Lifter. You can go to the link below. The guys will put the link on there. You can go there for free, and we'll give you the manuscript, the transcript of the teaching here on our Leadership Lifter podcast.
Are you looking for some interactive activities and special events that will help build your leadership and mentoring skills? Or maybe you're just looking for a place where you can network and promote your business. I encourage you, join us at our Marketplace Ministry events. You can visit our website for our upcoming dates and speakers.
Again, he said the names of those who have taught him everything he knows is why, these are all questions, how, what, when, where, and who. I love that. Isn't that powerful? That's so powerful. Now let's go to the screen, talking about questions. It's really important that we ask ourselves questions. I want to talk to you about your dream. I hope you have a dream. I hope you haven't lost your dream. But if you have, if you've lost your dream, if you've stopped dreaming, if you don't have a dream, if you've shrunk your dream and made it smaller, if you've allowed limiting beliefs to downsize your dream, to cause your dream to drift, you've lost your dream, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Number one, how big are your dreams? If you have a dream, how big is your dream? You know, we're to dream big, we hear it, right? And I want to encourage you to dream big dreams because you don't want to waste your life. I don't want to waste my life. We're here on purpose. We know that. We're not just existing or enduring, that we're created on purpose for a purpose. And we serve a big God who has a big dream for your life. And so I want to ask you these questions. We're talking about being a master asker. We're talking about the importance of questions, what it'll do. It will open doors. It'll cause growth. It'll help you go to a new level. It'll solve problems. It'll give you favor. You know, in my lifetime, the people that I would run with were always older than me. I never really ran. Kim and I, you know, we've been here at Church on the Rock for 40 years. We've been married for 50 years. But we never really ran around with people of our same age because we felt like they didn't know any more than we knew. We always hung out, we always ran with people older than us because we wanted to learn from them. We wanted to grow through our relationship and through asking them questions. And you know what I found out? It opened doors because a lot of times people who are older than us, who've done what we want to do, been where we want to go, achieve what we want to achieve, they're willing to share, but most people aren't asking them questions. You know, a good friend of mine, a mentor of mine, a life coach in my life for over 40 years. I heard him tell this story the other day. He said he was with Oral Roberts, and I don't know if you know who Oral Roberts was, but you know, he built Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Oral Roberts has since passed. But my friend was telling the story, how that he was with Oral Roberts, this is decades ago, and they were riding around in Tulsa. And my friend asked Oral, said, Oral, you know, you're the largest, most famous healing evangelist of our century. You've witnessed, taught, preached to more people than anybody else at that particular time. You built Oral Roberts University, You have 1,000 people working for you. You have all these PhDs, you have all these professors, you have all this going on in your ministry and in your university. And here's what my friend said. He asked him this question: what is the key to your success? What is the key to your success? And you know what my friend said? He said that Oral Roberts said this: nobody had ever asked him that question before. Can you believe that? Nobody had ever asked him that question before.
Keep growing your skills with Pastor David Blunt's weekly Leadership Lifter. On our website, you will find more uplifting teachings, book recommendations, and other lecture materials that will bring fulfillment to your life. Also, on the website, you can purchase Pastor Blunt's books, as well as his upcoming release, God is For You.
Most people, average people, don't ask questions, don't know the right questions to ask. We gave you the resource of Bob Bill's question book. That'll help you. But we got to ask ourselves questions as well. How big is your dream? Do you have a dream? How big are your dreams? And the next question is, who do you need to become to achieve that dream? Who do I need to become? The person, the habits, the lifestyle, the routine, the character. Who do I need to become to cause that dream to come to pass? Number three, third question we need to ask ourselves, are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to pay the price? There's a price for every prize. There's a price to our dreams coming to pass. I remember for me years ago, when we came and planted Church on the Rock here in St. Louis, we were 35 people in the library. And I remember that very first month, I was invited to go speak to a full gospel businessman's fellowship. And after I got done, I talked about vision. I talked about how we came to St. Louis and the power of a vision, the importance of a vision. After I got done talking, a lady walked up to me. And here's what she said. I'll never forget. Her name was Barb. She later became a member of our church. She later became over my singles ministry. She's in heaven now. She's no longer living. But she walked up to me and she said, you know, Pastor Blunt, people greater than you have said they're going to do that in St. Charles County, this area of St. Louis. People greater than you said they were going to do it, and they never accomplished it. What makes you think you're going to accomplish it? And you know what I told her? I said, I'm going to pay a price they didn't pay. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to pray more. I'm going to study more. I'm going to help more people. I'm going to serve more than any of my predecessors. And you know what? My dream came to pass. I've had to enlarge my dream because what I was dreaming then has well come to pass years ago. So the questions we ask ourselves is, do you have a dream? How big is your dream? You know, who are you willing to become for that dream to come to pass? And then this question to ask ourselves, the power of questions today. Are you willing to pay the price? There's a price tag, okay? And then last but not least, questions. How will it feel when your dream, all your dreams come to pass? How will that feel? You know, I remember, I know it's kind of just a little thing, but I like motorcycles. I got my first motorcycle when I was 14 years old before I even had my driver's license. So I've had motorcycles all my life. And I can remember the first time, you know, I had a dream that I was going to get a Harley Davidson. And I can remember we were in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we were actually at a church conference. And my kids were small, and we were staying at the Motel 6. And I can remember we came out of that Motel 6 in the morning to go to the conference. And I remember Daniel, who's our executive pastor, was just a little guy, okay, in grade school. But right next to our car, somebody who was staying in Motel 6 had parked a Harley Davidson. And I can remember that we were putting the luggage in our car and stuff, and the guy came out that was there in the Motel 6 and got on his Harley Davidson, started that up, and I don't know if you know what a Harley Davidson sounds like, but it sounds like no other motorcycle. He started up, and I said to my son, I said, Daniel, you hear that? Daniel, can you hear that? I said, Daniel, someday I'm going to have one of those. I can just feel it right now. Can you feel the throb? Can you see the motors, the handlebars shaking? He goes, yeah, Dad. Yeah, Dad. And guess what? Since then, I've had a whole bunch of Harley Davidson motorcycles. I was imagining how would it feel How would it feel when I got my Harley Davidson motorcycle? You got to imagine, because feeling is attached to achieving your dream. You ever wondered why, when you're looking for a new car, the salesman wants to get you in it and drive it so you feel it? There has to be emotion attached to your vision for your vision or dream to come to pass. The power of questions, being a master asker. I hope I've helped you today. If I have, push subscribe and share it with somebody. And don't forget to check the link below and get the manuscript and the transcript of the teaching today. There's actually more in it. Thanks for watching. Tell a friend, and we'll see you next week.